So this is just a reminder with food sensitivities on my timeline. It took me about 1.5 years, 2 years before I could start exposing myself to the foods, because in the first 2 years or the first 1.5 years, I was still sensitive. My baseline was still up here. So no matter what I did, I would react and I'd be in a flare. And it was frustrating because I was like, fuck, man, all these other people are getting foods in and they're doing it early in their journey. Like, some of them were right away getting foods in. I'm like, how are they doing it? And I'm here sitting on these safe foods for 2 years, almost 1.5 years, and nothing's budging. So looking back now, I know I needed to be patient and not go in head first. But hey, I needed to also go in head first to realize not to go in head first, right? You're going to make mistakes. You're going to slip up, but you need those mistakes to, kind of pivot and change your approach. This is the learning process. Digestion for me was one of the last things to resolve, and it was the longest thing that took time to resolve, because digestion, to think about it, your brain is directly linked to your gut. There's a lot of nerves that are down there. If you're dealing with something, you're dealing with a stress response from all your other symptoms, you're trying to recover, blah, 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 it's going to constantly stress out your gut. And if you're trying to regulate your gut a little too early, good luck. It's like walking uphill in flip-flops in the snow, right? It's not going to happen. So you have to be patient. I was on my safe foods eating rice and beef for 2 years almost. And, eventually, near the 2 years, I would have like 10 foods that I was able to get in, right? But that still is only 10 foods. It would be like gluten, a couple vegetables here and there, like, right? Chicken and beef and then rice. And then, and I would always try to make it interesting. I'd have a little bit of variety, right? Because food got really boring, right? And eventually I didn't care about the taste of food. I just did it because I had to feed and eat and live. But then eventually I started enjoying food again. So I'd have 10 foods. This is about, the 1.5 year part. And then that's the time when I started to slowly expose myself to foods. And I would still get flares, right? I still got flares. But I was able to drag them out and then go to my safe foods. Drag them out, and then right before I'd go to my safe foods, I'd say, fuck it, we're going to drag this out again. Let's eat that food that would put me in a flare. And that was a period of almost 8 months where I was in a flare. And then my brain regulated and it allowed a lot more food in. Like when I had 5 foods in, if I trained on 1 food, I would have 5 foods in. If I trained on 5 foods, I'd have 20 foods in. So, don't think of it that you're always going to have to train on 1 food. one, you got only 1,000 foods to go. No, it's, when you do 5, 10 come in, so on. It works across the board. So no, in the beginning, don't go in head first. Know that it took me 1.5 years to 2 years to start to train on foods, to allow them to be there, to sit into the danger, not sending the, safety messages or having, holding a tomato or holding an egg and talking to it like it's my buddy. I realize now it wasn't the visuals on the foods or me holding the tomato or holding the egg. It was me being patient until my baseline came down, because I was working on many other things at the same time. And your gut is always affected, right? Just like your muscles tense up is one of the last things to go also, because whenever you're dealing with something here, your muscles tense up and your gut gets affected. So I had to be patient, and eventually my brain allowed me to, allowed more food. It allowed more food to come in. And when it did that, when I got to that level, then I started to expose. And I would get flares, and I would drag out the flares. And I had a routine of this, right? I was still living life, and I had a routine. It was like a soft exposure. Like, okay, I'm in a flare, 2 weeks of this flare, that's fine. I can still live. I can still function, right? I can still do this because I'm at a different level. I've graduated and got that leverage. because I brought my baseline down enough to where my brain's going, all right, what do you got? I'm not sure I like this. I'm going to give you a flare until I'm convinced. By the way you sit into that danger, what are your responses? I'm watching your responses. Okay, I'm convinced. We'll let that food in. Don't bother trying to send me messages of safety because I don't care about that. Here, I'm sending you a flare to the egg. I'm giving you headaches. I'm giving you flu-like symptoms. You're going to feel brain fog. You're going to feel anxiety. Your blood pressure is going to go up and down. You're going to feel a pending doom. Okay, how are you sitting in that danger? Show me how you're responding. Okay, you're not freaking out. You're embracing. You're asking for more. Okay, I'll give you a couple more symptoms. Oh, you're handling that. Okay, I'll turn that alarm off. You know what? Let's have that food come in. I trust you. I think that's good. And then when you have that one egg in, guess what? You got 5 other foods in. Pork chops, tomato juice, ginger ale, ice cream, blah, blah, blah. Fill in the blanks. Right? So that's how it worked for me. I had to be patient, so you need to be patient. Don't jump in head first because you'll just re-traumatize yourself and you'll just put the doubt in your mind that you're a special case, that why does everybody else able to get foods in? It must be because I have a gene defect, or I'm a special case, or my mitochondria this or that, or, right? We don't want to put too much doubt in you. No, it was a shit show for me. And if it's a shit show for you, that's okay, right? Don't compare yourself to other people, because I did, and I had the doubt, and I lost hope on the food thing, and it crushed me because I was a food guy. I became a fucking chef. I became I love being in the kitchen. I worked at 5 different places, right? I loved food, Mexican and German. Like, I love Mexican food. I love German food. Like, that would be torture to somebody who's who loves food, and all of a sudden you can only eat 2 foods? No, man. I wasn't going to take that. I love chili. I was a guy that ate chili constantly. And to say that, hey, you're never going to have an avocado or a chili or a taco again, buddy. Sorry, bud. Or a sauerkraut. Forget it. So have patience. Understand it goes in stages. Digestion is one of the last things that usually lifts. Right? Because knowledge is everything. And when you have expectations, you understand what to expect, you're going to go through it a lot easier. That was kind of cool there. So be patient. For me, a year and a half, eventually I built leverage and I could expose myself to foods. And it wasn't that I was sending visual messages of safety. It was that how I handling myself when I was sitting in the danger. What was my response? It's the responses to the danger that the brain pays attention to. So keep that in mind. And stay on course. It's going to shift. You're going to get the foods in. You're going to be eating the pizza. Right? The food sensitivities will go. They're just stubborn. Because the brain's just trying to keep you alive. It's doing its job. It just sucks. And I understand.